I'm going to show you the proper way to add scent to a candle. In order to make a great smelling candle, it is important to mix your materials correctly. I'm going to teach you how to add the right amount of fragrance at the proper time so that the wax and the fragrance will bond. What I have here is an essential oil. For this type of a scented candle, it's important to use a wax that is able to absorb or bond with the fragrance. Soy wax, paraffin wax, and palm wax do a great job of bonding with fragrance. Fragrance doesn't bond as well with beeswax. Now in this case here, we're using 100% natural soy wax. Now that I have melted my wax, I'm going to make sure that my wax is at a temperature of around 150 degrees. If I were to add my fragrance at too high of a temperature, I will burn off or evaporate a lot of the fragrance. If the temperature is too low, the fragrance will be unable to bond with the wax. Because we're starting with a new fragrance that we haven't worked with before, we're going to start out with 5%. In this case, I have 10 ounces of wax, and I'm going to add half an ounce of fragrance. Once you've added your fragrance, you want to be sure to continue to mix the wax. We are removing the heat completely, and we want to allow it to cool until it is about 120 degrees. Now at this point, the wax is below 120 degrees, and you'll see it's starting to get cloudy. Now you can pour your candle and set the wicks so that they are vertical and straight.
The second type of dye is our highly concentrated liquid dye. I find this the easiest to use, and you can make virtually any color by mixing colors. It's also very simple because you just add drops with your dropper tip until you've reached your desired color. Then you can write down the number of drops you use per pound of wax so that it's repeatable and your candles have a consistent color. But first, here are 2 tips you should follow that are very important to get a consistent color. First, it's always best to add the fragrance oil first, as some fragrances can change the color of the soy wax. Secondly, when working with the dye chips and the dye blocks, it's always best to add them around 185 degrees so that they can fully dissolve. Another great tip to remember is that with each type of dye, your colors will appear darker when they're being mixed in hot wax. So when you think that you've achieved your desired color, take a couple drips out and drip on a white piece of paper. It will quickly dry and you'll see a more true color. I'm going to do that now with the diamond dye chips. Now we're going to make a soy candle with our purple liquid dye. This is personally my favorite method. I'm going to use 6 drops per pound of soy wax to achieve a nice light lavender color. If I wanted to make a darker candle, I could just simply add more drops of dye. See how easy that was? I didn't have to worry about any sediment or heavy mixing. And now I'm going to take a couple drips and put it on the paper. You'll see now that they're a much darker color, and when we come back in 20 minutes, you can see that they're much lighter. The lighter color will look more like the color on the paper that we tested. Okay, so we're back, and the candles have cooled, and now you can see accurately that the drip test paper matches how the candles will look once they've cooled. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful. It's super easy, and colors are a fun way to spice up your soy candles. Once again,